So that brings us to Kate's case, right? So it's very interesting. We know that BMI or body mass index and health, there may be some correlations, but there's no causality there, right? So there's no direct relationship between those two things. But in her case, her physician was, or at least she felt that her physician was saying that there's a direct cause to that. And part of that comes from this idea of, or the concept of Gestalt psychology. Right. So we're going to do this activity just really quick. So let's go to the slide. And what I want you to do in this particular slide is count the number of triangles. What I want you to do in this slide is I want you to count the number of triangles, right? So you see the image, I want you to count the number of triangles and either write that down someplace or type it in the chat room or put it up on the screen, but count the number of triangles, all right? So people have all had it. Okay, good. People have had a chance to write those things down. All right, so now let's take a step back just for a second. And what I want you to do is I want you to define a triangle. What is a triangle? And a triangle is a three-pointed object that has three sides and is typically closed, right? So if we use that definition of a triangle, let's look back at our image. How many triangles are there in this picture? There are no triangles in this picture, only 3 Pac-Man, right? So that was okay, some of you guys get the Pac-Man joke. All right, cool. All right, so how is it that we were actually able to come up with triangles when there are no triangles? Gestalt psychology. Right? So we close shapes, we make up stuff, we make connections oftentimes when there are no connections to be made. And so when we think about Kate's situation, and we recognize that BMI, body mass index, and health are not necessarily related. There may be some correlations, but there's no causality, direct causality between those two things. And so how often are we making assumptions about our coworkers or about our patients that actually have nothing to do with the information that's in front of us? And so what I would encourage us to do is to really think about how do we pierce that wall of our assumptions and be humble enough to ask questions, to get clarity, to seek understanding before we say we understand. And so when we think about this triangle exercise and we think about Kate, what we recognize is that we don't always see everything. And when we don't seek clarity, we close the story. We make up a story that works for us when in fact that may not be reflective of the truth.